Jake Plummer joins us for a couple of minutes now, former Sun Devil great, NFLer, and of course, the star of ESPNU's broadcast of ASU basketball on Saturday night at Colorado. I saw more of Jake Plummer than I did of Jahi Carson at certain points of the game. Did you realize you were getting that much TV play on Saturday night?
Oh, I guess someone out there still loves me, and I think his name's Danny Cannell. No, it's cool. It's fun to be at the game, and no, I didn't know. My wife sent me a text and said, "Don't chew your gum with your mouth open." So I never know that I don't. You know me, I never care much about the cameras, and so if you can't see the cameras, then you don't know they're there, and so that's the best thing to just have fun. That's what I was doing.
I'm wondering if you could shoot free throws. This free throw shooting.
I wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was in high school. I hovered right below 70%.
Really?
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, I'm, throwing balls and being accurate with a ball is kind of in my nature, so they were never too hard for me, but, just a mental thing, a practice thing.
If you were to do it all over again, would you have gone into basketball more?
No. There were limitations basically on height and athleticism, being 6'2", and
yeah.
I was pretty athletic, but at 6'2", I wasn't I couldn't handle the ball really well, and that would have been my chance as a point guard, but I wasn't playing point guard in high school. But I loved hoops. I think that every kid that plays sports should try to play basketball. It's just such a great game for your feet, for your hand-eye, for conditioning and spatial awareness and everything.
Jake Plummer with us for a couple of minutes. So when ASU wins the game, when Evan Gordon hits the layup, did you consider for a moment to go jump in the middle of the fray with the team?
No, not at all. I was having some friendly words thrown my way from the student section, so I was trying to, play it cool, but be obviously into the game and rooting for my alma mater. And, I do live there now, so as a fan of sports, as a fan of basketball, I do like their team. I like the CU basketball team. They're fun to watch. So the games that I've watched them, they've been very impressive and fun to watch. I was rooting for the Sun Devils, though, because I knew it was a big victory for a big game for them. They needed to win, and they got it. So,
can you paraphrase what the student section was chanting towards you, Jake?
They basically, and I'll just be blunt. They just said I suck, but.
And you've heard that through the years.
I've heard it enough that it's almost like kind of a compliment. It's like, hey, you're taking time to recognize me, then, hey, I must not suck if you recognize me and have to say something to me.
When you're at games and John Elway is there, and I don't know if Elway was there Saturday night. He was at the U of A Colorado game. Yeah. But when you're at a game courtside and it's you and Elway, do you feel a little awkward being that quarterback behind John Elway?
Well, I've never been to a game and John has been at, so I couldn't tell you from any experience. But I know that I wanted to go to the game, a U of A game, but they told me that they had the best quarterback to ever play in Colorado coming. Could you come Saturday night? Because that's when we need the second, third, fourth tier guys to come that night.
That's good.
Elway's great. I think it was, people were wondering maybe why he was up watching CU. Obviously, they're doing well, and I thought, great move by him. He's kind of he's the man in this town. He's the Duke, and, what he's done with the Broncos, and he's kind of trying to spread the love around the state, which is a great thing to do.
Jake Plummer with us for a couple of minutes with Brad Sussmat, Pros 2 Preps. Your combine stories. Do you have a combine story? Combine starts this week.
I've got a few. It was fun. I've been thinking back a lot about that time, and it's really like nothing you'll ever go through. I mean, it's worthwhile because they need to know, who they're investing in and what kind of product they're getting. But some of it's just absurd. I remember laying in my grays, which were kind of like not jockey underwear, but like longer shorts, but they were kind of tight. And I was laying on a training table and in a room where there was probably about 10 or 11 doctors milling around. And so at one point my right leg was being moved around and, torqued and twisted, and my left leg was being done at the same time, and my right arm. So I had 3 different sets of people torquing on 3 different limbs, and then they stopped all of a sudden and walked off, and I heard them talking into their little, at the time, cassette recorders,
Sure.
Jake Plummer, saying their thing. And I laid there, and I was like, I leaned my head up, and I looked around. Nobody was paying attention to me, and I finally got someone to look at me. I said, am I done here? They're like, oh, yeah, you're done. You're good. And I was like, wait a sec. I mean, I'm not a piece of meat. Someone just say I'm okay so I can get up and not lay here half naked on a table. I mean, just absurd. They're just you're like a cow at the prize fair is what I've been telling my buddy Collin here. Just like you're like a cow at a prize fair. They want to make sure that they're investing in the right kind of meat.
Jake Plummer with us, and I'll get to Collin Klein in a minute. I'm curious, do you remember your 40 time at the Combine?
I want to say it was like a 4.8, 4.82 maybe, or 4.8. I don't think I broke 4.8. I might have maybe 4.79, but I think I did that at the pro day. But I think I didn't care. I thought it was absurd that they would even wonder how fast I was. I'm not on a team to outrun anybody. I'm on a team to get it to the guys that can outrun the people. So, the Combine, like I said, it's worthwhile in some regards, but some of it is just, it's silly. I never had to jump as high as I could jump in a game where it was worth, where I never really had to do that. There were a couple times I had to jump up and knock down a pass, but, it's just a test to see how athletic you are, which, I would have preferred to just take a basketball and go play some basketball and show the scouts that I was athletic.
Did you take the Wonderlic, or do you remember the Wonderlic?
There were so many weird tests you took. I do remember it, but I don't remember specifics about it. I don't remember what I got score-wise.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might have been in the high teens when my score. Nothing impressive, but, had enough knowledge left in there to be decent on the score.
Jake Plummer with us for a couple of minutes. Okay, so now you're in the role of mentoring someone. You're working with Collin Klein at Kansas State, who we saw out here at the Fiesta Bowl. How did this relationship come about?
It was kind of strange. I actually saw him play, a couple years ago, his junior year, and I remember watching and seeing this big, tall, athletic kid, very gifted with his feet, and had a relatively strong arm, tough, and could run and make plays. And I remember thinking, this was when I was still living in Sandpoint, and I said, man, I think that kid has some talent. I wish that'd be fun to work with a kid like that. So time passes, and I go to see my chiropractor, Nelson Batanzi, and he knows Collin through Peter Schaefer, who's Collin's agent.
Right.
So I said, Nelson asked me, what's up? What are you up to? And I was like, not much, looking to get something going here. And he said, hold on, grabbed his phone, called Peter, handed the phone to me. And next thing you know, I was down at the bubble working out with him. So kind of a strange little twist there from 2 years ago when I thought, man, it'd be fun to work with this kid. Now I am. So it's been a lot of fun. And, he's about the best kid you could work with. So for me, it's very gratifying.
What do you want to improve with him? I mean, let me put it this way, Jake. As he goes to the Combine this week, what does he need to accomplish at the Combine from your view?
There's so much that a quarterback needs to do that's different than, a linebacker or a D lineman or something. Well, those guys just need to test out well and show that they're good character people. I think what Collin needs to do is just go there and relax, just flow through it. I mean, you're going to go through some of the most negative, pick you apart things you've ever gone through in your life. I mean, they're just critical. They're looking for a crack, and they try to get into that crack and make it bigger and weasel down to where they can find if they can get to you. And I think him as a person, he's just such a quality kid that there's no question on his character. So for him, they're going to want to know his knowledge of the game. They're going to ask him football questions. We really haven't covered a whole lot of that. I've been working with him to really hone in his drops and his mechanics, as far as drops to, the load and delivery of the ball, his accuracy, and he's made great strides so far. He's still got a lot of work to do, but for him, he's just got to go out and show him that he's gotten better in the last 4 weeks from the Shrine. He's improved. And coaches see that. They want someone that they know can get better and with coaching. And I think that he's a candidate for that. I think that he'll do well.
You sent me a text the night of the U of A ASU game about your next step and some things you're thinking about doing. You've moved down to Boulder. Is this one of those next steps as being a quarterback coach, or do you have some other things you're working on?
Yeah, I've always thought it'd be fun to just kind of be a mentor to some of these kids coming out. I think back to my time when I was coming out at ASU, and I had such great coaches around there that really helped me prepare and get ready for that. And once you get to that next step, I didn't call on them probably enough, but they were always there. If I needed them, I could always get advice. I mean, I remember Coach Pettis calling me and saying on a message, he said, "Hey, be careful with your eyes. At the snap of the ball, you're looking down at the center," because he'd watched me on TV. And so, I just want to be an extra set of eyes for this kid. And my whole goal is to get him his mechanics so ingrained in his brain and so, just about second nature, so that he doesn't have to get to camp and start practicing, his 7-step drop or 3-step drop. I mean, he'll have that stuff so honed down that then he can focus on what they're doing now with quarterbacks, is overloading them with all this information. So I want him to go into camp ready for that mentally and physically be prepared and ready to go.
Is he the only one you're working with, Jake, or do you have others?
Yeah, he's it for now. This is just this is the first time for me, and I was impressed with him from the get-go that he had a chance to go work down in Florida at IMG, but here in Dove Valley in the bubble, he's had anywhere from 5 to 7 receivers every day, guys that have played in the league or were in a camp but then got cut and didn't make it. So you got guys that are hungry. I mean, these guys will run routes all day long. They'll go till he's done. And so you get down to some of these other places where you're working with receivers that are also coming out in the draft. It's tough because they're on a route count and they don't want to do too much. And so he's had a real good. He made a good decision to come down here. I just hope that what I've given him helps him show, like I said, show the coaches that you can get better, you can improve, that you're not just stuck in the mold you are coming out of K-State, that you can do anything they throw your way, that you can. He's very athletic, and he's made my job to help him out much easier because I can show him something, and he goes and does it. So it's pretty impressive. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does at the Combine and just seeing how he progresses in his career.
Yeah, the Cardinals have the 7th pick. They haven't found a quarterback in 3 years. Shoot, if you had any eligibility or interest, you could come back here. Would he make sense for the Cardinals? Nobody's listed Collin Klein as a first-round pick. Would he make sense for the Cardinals?
No, that's the thing. I mean, the crazy thing, these pundits these days, they just go off what they see on Saturday or hear from someone on ESPN, and I think seeing him firsthand, some of the concerns that people had, he's got some issues with his throwing and a few things, but I should say, some issues. I think he's gotten rid of those and moved on and become on air, throwing in a bubble to, receivers. He looks really good, but the QB position is so much more than just dropping back and throwing. I mean, there's guys that can pinpoint the ball, and they're playing in 3 leagues, but to take it all in, to be a team leader, to be courageous, to know the offense, to play through the ups and downs. I mean, there's so much that goes into being a QB, and that's kind of what I sent him off today with to go to the Combine, was like, hey, man, have fun, take what they throw at you, and have fun with it. If you make a mistake, don't dread on it. Just get over it and move on to the next thing, because that's what QB in the league's about. You're going to throw and make bad plays, bad throws, but you got to get over it. You got to move on, and I'm trying to instill that in him now so that he knows, it's not all going to be peaches and cream every day. You got to fight through some of those tough times, and the Combine is not going to be easy, but have fun while you're doing it.
Stay well. As always, I appreciate your time. Be in touch down the road. Thanks.